Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host Mitch, glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today we have an episode of Commander's 2 Cents. On episodes like these, I give you my own personal take on topics about the format in general and current news. This show and episodes like this one are possible because of viewers like you. So if you're looking for some easy ways to help support the show, make sure you like this episode and share it with friends. And make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Thank you to everyone who's already purchased our merchandise, it really does help support the channel. Another easy way to support this channel is by using our TCG Player affiliate links. So make sure that you're looking for those links in the description whenever you're buying a deck or just individual cards. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. So Commander was originally known as Elder Dragon Highlander, or EDH for short. Back then you were limited to just 5 options when it came to who you could choose for your commander, those being the 5 Elder Dragons from the Legends set. Later on, the rule was changed to allow any legendary creature to be your commander like it is today. This greatly expanded the number of different commander options that players could choose from. Then in the Commander 2014 precons, Wizards took it upon themselves to introduce a slight addition to that rule. They printed 5 Planeswalkers that had the text, "Can be your commander," included on them. That meant that your commander could be any legendary creature in Magic or one of these 5 Planeswalkers. Last year, Wizards added to that list with 2 more in Battle Bond and another 4 in the Commander 2018 precons. There are a ton of Planeswalker cards in Magic, but currently there are only 11 Planeswalkers total that can legally be used as your commander. There has been debate for quite some time on whether or not Planeswalkers should be allowed as your commander. Since last year, that debate picked up even more, with some people calling for all Planeswalkers to be allowed as commanders. The question was even brought up on the Command Zone's Commander Summit this year, where they had Commander community members share their thoughts on the topic. From this discussion, a lot of great points were brought up on both sides of the issue. Since then, there have been plenty of you asking me for my thoughts on whether or not Planeswalkers should be allowed as commanders. So I thought in order to really get into my thoughts and reasoning, it would require a deeper dive into the topic with an episode like this one. So first off, when it comes to where I stand on whether or not Planeswalkers should be allowed as commanders, I strongly believe that. Sorry everybody, just one second. Looks like I forgot to turn my phone off while recording. It's a little embarrassing, sorry. Hello?
Hey Mitch, how's it going?
Oh hey Prof. Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of recording an episode on whether or not Planeswalkers should be allowed as commanders. Can I just call you back in a bit?
Oh, nice. Did you know there's already an existing format where you can have any Planeswalker be the commander of your deck?
Yeah, you mean Oathbreaker? I actually haven't had the chance to try it out yet, but this episode's actually on.
Oh, you have to try it. It's a lot of fun. Did you know there's so many different ways that you can build decks, since it has the added element of you selecting a signature spell to go along with your Planeswalker commander?
Yeah, that's great, but I really think I should be getting back to...
Nah, just sit back and relax, Mitch. I'll take you through everything you need to know about building a budget Oathbreaker deck. Yes, indeed. This is the professor of Tolarian Community College, and today I'm going to show you how to build an Oathbreaker deck for only about $25. Oathbreaker is such a fun format as it allows not only for Planeswalkers to serve as your commander, or Oathbreaker as we call it, but also for the addition of a signature spell to accompany the Planeswalker in the command zone. If you don't know what Oathbreaker is and want to learn, you can always check out my introduction video on my own YouTube channel. But for today, I'm going to teach you how to have a ball in Oathbreaker for only $25 with Chandra's Firecat Blitz. Now, this list was first pioneered by the Brutal Barbarian's Riddle, a local to my own local Portland Oathbreaker scene. Chandra's Firecat Blitz uses Chandra, Novice Pyromancer, an uncommonly great Planeswalker from the recent Core 2020 set, as well as, obviously, that often overlooked kitty spell, Firecat Blitz. Chandra, Novice Pyromancer, costs 3 generic and 1 red for a Planeswalker with a starting loyalty of 5. Her abilities are as follows. For +1, elementals you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, perfect for the elemental tribal that this deck packs, or -1 to add red and red to your mana pool. Her final ability is not one I expect to use much, but it's a good safety to have. Chandra, Novice Pyromancer, deals 2 damage to any target if we want to go down 2 loyalty points. Red is not normally a ramp color, but what's great about this Chandra is she allows you to go from 4 mana sources to casting 6 CMC spells fast. This makes cards like Sunbird's Invocation and Chandra Flamecaller actually reasonable to play. Once you start comboing this with some of the mana abilities our elementals can possess, you can really overramp, overrun, and overwhelm your opponents. Firecat Blitz, the signature spell, is double red and X for a sorcery spell that reads, create X 1/1 red elemental cat creature tokens with haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. Its flashback ability is irrelevant since it will always return to our command zone. With Chandra's +1 giving all elementals +2/+0 until end of turn, this is essentially double red to create as many lightning bolts on legs as we can afford afterwards. Great to pull out early or late, but there's even more that we can do with Elemental Tribal here. Let's talk heavy hitter elementals. Embodiment of Fury might only be 11 cents, but it packs a wallop. For 3 generic and a red, it is a 4/3 elemental with trample that gives land creatures you control trample. It also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. Wow, giving all elementals +2/+0 with Chandra's +1 goes so well here, as do elemental cards like Lightning Mare, Blistering Firecat, and Char Rumbler. Players of the recent standard will recognize Runaway Steamkin, an elemental that helps us out with mana as well, growing larger the more spells we cast, and then letting us remove counters for red mana. So too does a card like Soulbright Flamekin, an elemental for 1 and a red that lets us spend 2 to give target creature trample until end of turn. If this is the 3rd time this ability is resolved this turn, you may add RRRRRRRR. That lets us turn 6 mana into 8 mana. Aren't you glad you ran this card? Just remember, we only get this for the 3rd time each turn as we use the ability, so no getting the bonus again on the 6th or 9th, you sneaky players, you. Charging Cinderhorn is a fantastic for multiplayer formats like Oathbreaker, a 4/2 elemental ox with haste. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no creatures attacked this turn, put a fury counter on Charging Cinderhorn. Then Charging Cinderhorn deals damage equal to the number of fury counters on it to that player. Wow. Scampering Scorcher puts a lot of elemental bodies on the ground, while Spark Spitter lets us discard to make Spark Elementals, especially great for late game dead cards in hand like land. Or they don't even have to be dead cards, as we have Recursion from our graveyard in the form of Thunderkin Awakener. A 1/2 with haste for only 1 and a red. Whenever Thunderkin Awakener attacks, choose target elemental creature card in your graveyard with toughness less than Thunderkin Awakener's toughness. Return that card to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. In addition to our Oathbreaker's double red mana generation, cards like Bright Hearth Banneret make elemental spells cost 1 generic less to cast, and hey, it even has Reinforce. Amplifier is a 14-cent elemental wonder. For 2 generic and 2 red at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Until your next turn, Amplifier's base power becomes twice that card's power, and its base toughness becomes twice that card's toughness. Put the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. Rounding out the creatures are cards like Chandra's Spitfire, Generator Servant, and Grinning Igneous. Classics like Kiln Fiend and Pyrehound are elementals that grow every time you cast an instant or sorcery, and I just really love to include young Pyromancer because he makes, yep, you guessed it, elementals every time you do the same. So what instants and sorcery spells are we running? Pulse of the Forge, Flame Jab, Fry, and Magmatic Sinkhole work well with the above, blasting our enemies to bits in the process. I especially like the Retrace on Flame Jab, letting us cast the card from our graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to paying its other costs. Molten Birth is a fun one. 2 red and a generic create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens, then flip a coin. If you win the flip, return Molten Birth to its owner's hand. Win a few flips and your opponents may flip out. Force of Rage is a card that I think a lot of people overlook. On its face, it's a ball lightning spread across 2 bodies. On its back end, it's a removal spell with a 6/2 blocking power. In this deck, either is fine. Rite of the Raging Storm is 3 generic and 2 red for an enchantment that reads, creatures named Lightning Rager can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. What's this? Well, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player puts a 5/1 red elemental creature token named Lightning Rager into play. It has trample, haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. This card is just value and just fun. Obviously, getting a free massive elemental each turn is phenomenal, but the politics of this card is great because it makes a strong enough body that it makes politicking by force a real thing. Now, in addition to instants and sorceries, we're also going to run cards like Chandra's Regulator, which obviously is great in a Chandra Oathbreaker deck. And it adds to running cards like Chandra Flamecaller in the deck as well. Mask of Immolation is about 6 cents, but just look at all this elemental text. When Mask of Immolation enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token, then attach Mask of Immolation to it. Equipped creature has sacrifice this creature. It deals 1 damage to any target. You can equip it for 2. A great way to deal with threats that crop up across the battlefield or just hit our opponents or their Oathbreakers in the face. In terms of lands, the deck runs 23 mountains for a fairly fair-priced mana base. We also want to include cards like Flamekin Village and lands like Forge of Heroes as well. What I love about this deck is how strong and competitive it is despite the $25 price tag. I don't even really feel we need to look at upgrades, but if you want to, there's a few I'd recommend. Actually, Incandescent Soulstroke is one you might just put in the main board. Swap out just about anything for it. It's really great as it's an elemental lord that also lets us place elementals from our hand into play. But if you're looking at the big bucks in the $4 to $8 range, I'd recommend Flamekin Harbinger, which is a tutor that lets us search up our library for an elemental of our choice. But the real upgrades are going to come in the form of swords. Add in 1, add in 4. Swords make a deck like this incredible. You can put your favorite ones in or adjust for your meta. Personally, I've been having so much fun with the new Sword of Sinew and Steel. But no matter which ones you put in, nothing like a flaming elemental swinging a sword at you to put fear in your opponent's hearts. So now that you've experienced how great of a format Oathbreaker is and how you can still build it on a budget, you're definitely going to be doing a lot of Oathbreaker deck techs on your own, right?
You know what, Professor? I think... Sorry, Professor. I've got to take this. Look, Gavin, you gotta stop calling me. Okay, this is getting a little out of hand. I'm not going to be doing a deck tech on Angus McKenzie just because you asked. No, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. I told you exactly what my price is, okay? You get the bobble reprinted, and then we'll talk. And make sure that you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Links to our social media accounts can be found in the description. Also in the description below is a link to the Commander's Quarters Patreon page, and I just want to say a quick thank you to the patrons who have subscribed so far. There are many benefits to being a patron for the Commander's Quarters, including being able to vote on future Commanders for deck techs. There's even a general level tier where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. I truly couldn't do this without all of your support, so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, check out some of our other episodes on budget deck techs, Quest for Quarters episodes, Commander topics, and Creators Quarters. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again, and have a good one.